What's going on, everybody? It is Tommy from Saleslucky.com here, and Happy New Year. It is 2020, brand new decade. I hope you guys commit to what you want to achieve and start making progress daily towards those goals, right? So today's post is on the 4 pillars of influence. These are the 4 primary pillars when it comes to sales or just influence in general. There's actually a pretty good book related to the topic on this topic. It's called Influence by Cialdini. I've got a link in the blog post here, so go ahead and click on that link and check it out. But these 4 pillars are not exactly that, but they are what actually I got from Tony Robbins in his course, Mastering Influence, and I thought it to be very, very good. I listened to this a couple years ago, actually re-listened to it recently. But the 4 pillars are: 1, building trust and rapport. So, in sales and life, if we want to influence somebody, we want to gain a rapport and have trust, because if there's no trust, there's not going to be a transaction at the end of the day. So building rapport and trust, incredibly helpful. And how do we do that? Well, we can build rapport by simply, this is pretty common. I mean, if you meet somebody you like and you start asking them questions about, where they're from and what they do, and what do you do from there when you find out something that you both share in common? You express that, right? So understanding similarities, looking for similarities or mutual interests builds rapport, because as people, we tend to like people that we are either like or want to be like. So seeking similarity or seeking aspects where we're similar or mutual shared interests builds rapport. What else can build rapport? Giving a gift, offering something of value can build rapport. That also induces reciprocity. Now, what builds trust? Trust is obviously very important, and I pulled up a definition of trust in the Webster Dictionary, and that's a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. It's being able to depend on somebody, rely on something, their ability or their truth, okay? So how do you build trust? Well, one way we can build trust is by doing what we say we're going to do over and over and over again. And this is not just true for someone else, but this is true for ourselves as well. That's where the word self-confidence comes from, because self-confidence literally means to confide in oneself or to trust in oneself. And I used to get very frustrated when I would hear people say, just be confident, because it's like, how do you fucking do that? How do you do that? Well, what's worked for me over this past year and a couple years is I've realized that if I keep promises that I make to myself, if I tell myself I'm going to do something and then apply the discipline to do that, then I build trust in myself. I build up my self-confidence. And it's the same thing with a prospect. If you tell the prospect you're going to do something, make sure you follow up and do that. And if you do that consistently over time, that builds up trust. And that's essentially what happens in a long sales cycle. Is you set next steps with the prospect, you have a great call, you set next steps, and then you and the prospect go back and do those things, and you show up on the next call. And because you did what you said you were going to do, over time, that builds up trust, where they trust not only you, but your company and the solution that you provide, okay? Now, number 2, second pillar of influence is asking great questions. So this does a whole lot of things. I go in depth in different articles about the power of asking questions, but one of the incredibly effective things this does is it allows you to understand what's really going on in your prospects' minds. It allows you to uncover their beliefs, uncover their hidden motivations, their hidden intentions by asking questions. A good way of understanding this is understanding the concept of peeling back an onion. So it's like, if you can imagine the reason when you do something, whether it's working out, going to a gym, or doing whatever it is that you do, saving up for a particular thing, ask yourself, why are you doing those things? And each reason that you give, it's like peeling back a layer of the onion. Once you give yourself a response, ask yourself again, why? And then you answer that and you ask, why? Well, why are you doing that? And it's like peeling back the layers of an onion. And typically, when you ask someone a question, the first response they'll give is going to be a surface level response. So you want to keep asking questions, keep understanding and peeling back the onion to understand exactly why they are doing those things. And what that does is allow you to understand them at a deeper level and also understand yourself at a deeper level, because as Socrates used to say, in order to understand, or he used to say, understanding oneself is the beginning to understanding others. So, I know this is kind of deep, but it's impactful. And the reason is because if you can understand why you do certain things and your true motivations for certain things, you're going to be able to much better understand your prospect and ask your prospect those questions to understand their true motivations. And all selling is aligning their motivations and what they want with whatever it is that you can provide them and help them achieve those things. Okay, aligning intent. That's all selling is. Pillar number 3 is congruence. What does congruence mean? Congruence simply means that when you speak, when you talk, that what you say verbally and what you display physically in terms of your body language and your tonality all match. They're succinct. They are congruent. We've all had the experience where we might have been dealing with a salesperson or might have heard like a manager speak or anybody speak when they're telling you something, you're saying one thing, but their tonality and their body language is saying something totally different. And we get that weird feeling in our gut when it's like, dude, like, and we're thinking to ourselves like, dude, like, I know you're lying to me right now. You know what I mean? So that's why it's important to be congruent. And at the end of the day, all this really comes down to being real. It sounds simple. And it sounds super simple, but it's just one of the most powerful things you can do. Being real, being authentic, being you. One of the things that I've learned recently is the competitive advantage of being you. So, as I'm doing this video here, creating this blog, products are nowadays, whether it's sales training or whether it's books or protein powder or whatever it is, they're not that much really different from their competitors, right? You can go online and pretty much Google how to figure out how to build a rocket ship. You can literally do that. You'll find plans for a spaceship. So products are getting commoditized these days, and the real competitive advantage to a lot of businesses nowadays is really the leader, the head of the organization, and its personal branding. So, in no time in history has there been somebody like you. Nowhere in the world is there somebody like you right now, and there will never be somebody like you in the future. There will never be somebody with your preferences, with your beliefs, with your style, with your ethos, with your, basically who you are and your unique perspective and take on things. So being authentic or congruent is really a competitive advantage, and really is the reason why your customers very well might want to buy from you, is because they are buying into you. And again, being congruent is really just about being real, being authentic, because it's at the end of the day, it's really about whenever the words that you speak, it's got to match your tonality, it's got to match your body language, and it's got to match who you are. You have to be real, and you have to be yourself. Finally, the last thing is about managing your state. What do I mean by that? It's simply about managing our internal dialogue and our internal emotions, because as you guys know, sales is not a sport for the weak. That's actually why most people shy away from it, is because they lack the mental discipline, the mental strength to endure through sales, to endure through the inevitable no's that happen in sales. let's be real, sales isn't rocket science, right? It's more mindset and mental toughness than anything. And the ability to control our own emotions and our own thoughts when things don't go the way we planned is incredibly important in sales, because there's a saying that sales is really just the transference of emotion, the transference of belief. When we speak to a prospect, what we're really doing is transferring our emotions, transferring our enthusiasm and our beliefs about the product to the prospect. And if you had a shitty call, before speaking to this prospect, and you let that negatively influence your mood or your emotions, well, that's obviously going to translate and impact the next call that you're on. So the ability to influence ourselves first, by first controlling our inner dialogue and our emotions, so that we are in what Tony Robbins calls a peak state, which means we are on it, we are on top of it, so that when we show up on the next call, that we are in a great state, we're in a peak state, and that we are in control of our internal emotions, as opposed to letting the external impact that. So those are the four primary tools of influence. So those are the four primary tools of, or pillars of influence. It's building trust and rapport, asking great questions, congruence, and managing your state. Okay. Hope you guys have an awesome kickoff to the year. I will see you guys soon, and please check out the blog post. If you're on YouTube, check out the full blog post. There's sometimes content that is not in these videos, as I kind of just freeform and kind of freestyle with it. Let it flow. Anyways, talk to you guys soon. Have a great kickoff to 2020.